Hello, Aries. How's everybody doing today? I hope that your week has gotten off to a good start. And now we're at the end part here, so I'm hoping to give you what you need for the month ahead. I've been busy this morning, so thank you so much for being patient as I continue to get everything organized here for you. I do a lot of my channeling through automatic writing, which you're going to see here in just a second here. So let me put Paula down and we'll chat a little bit. This morning, more messages than usual. And the way that I achieve these messages, by the way, is through dreams, meditation, and then just the act of writing. It is a way that you can actually connect to your own intuition, by the way, if you're wondering how that works. Basically, you can just meditate and start to think about something and write it. And as you do that, you'll actually receive visions or ideas. It's another form of tapping into your intuition, just like the cards. So the first part of the reading is going to be that. I usually separate this into a few different parts, but let me just begin with introducing myself if I haven't done that already. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be looking at Aries today. I usually read for 6 to 8 weeks ahead, and that gives you a chance to really make sure that you have a chance to exact free will. You can watch this on sun, rising, or moon signs, Venus as well, and any other part of your chart that you happen to know. The beginning portion especially, anybody can join really, because the messages that I receive can be for anyone in the room. But of course, I'm trying to fine tune as much as I can for the sign that's present. After I do this, we'll take a look at the tarot cards to see additional messages on high points and potential challenges, and then give you some ideas of how to navigate through that. I expand the forecast afterwards to look at some specific areas, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. And that allows the center portion to just take on whatever organically and naturally it wants to. So that's the main portion. And then after that, we will do a recap. And then I dig a little bit deeper into in what I call the soul path, which is a chance for us to look at one or two of the biggest presenting issues and get some fine tuning, some additional ideas. And then I do a wild card there. We'll meditate, and at the very end, I'll pull an extra card, and that's for your silent question. So as I do this reading today, I do my best to reach into all the possible areas, but of course, there's always something specific and personal. And so you can save that for the end, and I'll pull a card and give you a yes, no answer and some additional insight on that, almost as if we were, having a personal reading there at the end. So that's the overall format today, and I hope you enjoy it. And before we get started, just a couple of quick notes. First of all, I pinned a link at the top to my website. If you ever want to take a look at my upcoming schedule, or you want to look at old videos, or just figure out how to connect or give back, all of that information is there. Also, if you enjoy what you see here today and would like to show support in real time, you can actually do that using this super chat icon here. It's right by the emojis. And the super chat, all the funds that I get from that, I actually buy new decks. And I have 2 or 3 new ones that I'll be interspersing this month, especially in the mid-month, end of month, and bonus readings that I do. So you'll be seeing some brand new material during that. So thank you in advance to everybody that's helped out. If you'd like to join the channel, I see we've got a lot of new members, a few ones before we even started today. So first of all, welcome to those folks. But if you'd like to join, you can just click the join button right under the video. It's also in that same super chat area. And that's just a way to kind of like set it and forget it and give back for all the 15 videos that I do every month. And thank you in advance for that as well. You can also use the applaud feature on Android and desktop if you'd like to. All of those are appreciated. Finally, the easiest way is just to like and subscribe. I occasionally look at my analytics, and I'm surprised to see that 70% of the people that watch don't subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It helps a lot. So if you could do that and hit the thumbs up, I appreciate it. If you've already done it, thank you. All right, let's get started. Lots to talk about today. Let me begin with your totem. If you're new, the way that I deal with the channeled messages, or approach it, I should say, is I like to start with something from nature. And oftentimes this comes naturally to me. I'll either, on one of my own walks, I will run into the totem, or I see it in a dream, or it comes to me as I'm meditating. So today it was a combination of the two. I've been seeing bluebirds a lot past couple of days as I was getting ready for your reading. We have Western bluebirds out here in California, but most of you may know of the Eastern bluebirds, but I'm just going to pull up a little picture in case you're not familiar with it. Beautiful bird. And a really nice song as well. Let me see if there's a different picture of it, just so we can see it. One of the really cool things that I was learning as I was reading about this lovely bird is that it prior to us using pesticides and everything, it was something that many gardeners would try to pull into their sort of, or into the farms as well, because it would eat a lot of insects. I mean, it eats some berries and other things too, but it was kind of like a natural repellent for pests and things. So this is a helpful bird, beautiful sort of song as well. And let's talk about that. Your second totem, by the way, is a palm tree. And we'll save that for when I get to the, I'll show you the picture when we get to that. So dual totem today. We're going to start with the bluebird, then we'll move on to the palm tree, and I'll show you some pictures of that. So as I was doing some research on it, both Eastern, Western, and I think there's even like a meadow bluebird. There's like at least 3 different varieties. Most of these are in North America. There may be some other parts of the world, but I was just kind of doing some quick research this morning and looking at like Eastern, Western, and meadow bluebirds. They're very social. And in fact, the Western bluebirds can actually fly in flocks of over 100 plus. Not always just bluebirds. A lot of times there's other birds there too. So that's not always the case with certain types of birds. They're very territorial, but these are social birds. The social energy is going to be really important to you this month. I was also fascinated that there are sometimes extra birds that will come in and help, kind of like a nanny would, to raise children. So even if it's not their offspring, these nannies can actually oftentimes be male birds. And even though that's not their sort of offspring, they help out anyway. It can also be like younger birds that are kind of maybe older than the other ones. And it's sort of like this foster family or surrogate sort of energy there. And I thought that was really cool. I always like to see sort of like atypical family energy when we're looking at totems or nature, because it shows us again that family isn't always biology, that, groups at work that you can connect with, or at school or social gatherings, sometimes these energies are even stronger. And this month, there was a message here to kind of ask for help if you need it, and to lend a hand if you can as well. Everybody wins. There doesn't have to be a win versus lose. It's not about, again, title status, familial connections. It's really just sort of this social, helpful energy that I was picking up on when I was looking at this totem. So if there's any way that you can foster that or start to connect more with people that have that sort of perspective, it's going to help you out. Because grassroots energy, or grassroots, ran out of a room here, is really important to help make change happen. Thinking small, starting small, but thinking big. So let's say that again. Have a really big idea, but just like grass, which spreads, you just have to plant a few seeds and then let the sort of network help you out. So big ideas, but small beginnings. Sometimes we try to do it all at once. It's like looking at a gigantic, submarine sandwich and trying to put the whole thing in your mouth. No, it's one little bite at a time. If you do that, you get sick. So it's the same sort of thing here. Don't overwhelm yourself. Connect with the grassroots effort, get all the people connected to you and lean on that. It's a social sort of thing. So power in numbers, suffice it to say, and that's what I put here too. There's going to be power in numbers this month for sure. Let's see what's next here. Oh, I was really fascinated by the fact that I think it's both Eastern and Western bluebirds. They have slightly different habitats, but one of the things for sure for the Western, as I was looking at this, they would make a home in dead trees, often the ones that would have been naturally burned in a wildfire. And same thing even on the East Coast. I believe that they a lot of times would just kind of inhabit older sort of trees or dead trees and things like that. And what I was thinking about with this is it's almost like they are natural recyclers. They're taking something that would normally be tossed away and seen as nothing, and they're like, I can make use of this. So there's this recycling energy and resourcefulness. So instead of starting from scratch this month, be scrappy like a bluebird, and there might be some untapped resources. Maybe there's something that you've just been saving for a rainy day. Maybe this is some extra stuff that you put away. It could be like a literal sort of resource that you've saved, money that you've saved. And this is a time that you can tap into that. It could be something else where you're going to repurpose it. You're thinking like, I've had this for a long time, but it's not suiting me. Maybe I can give it to someone else. Maybe I can rework this and make something new out of it. So it's kind of turning things around in your thoughts too, kind of thinking inside out and thinking of a different way of doing it. Be resourceful. Speaking of thoughts, because they are alchemic, and that's something that I like to talk about a lot. Alchemic meaning powerful and able to create change. Imagine that whatever task you're dealing with right now, the task or tasks at hand, that they're going to be easier than you think. They're going to be quicker than you think, and they'll probably go better than you think as well. So sometimes if you're trying to find a job, find an apartment, find a partner, whatever it is, you're just thinking, oh, this is so hard. You've actually spoke it into existence when you say that. Or if you think to yourself, this is going to take forever. Well, you've just sort of called that experience in. So instead of thinking that it can take forever, think to yourself, what if this really is faster than I thought? I'm ready to be surprised in a positive way, that this could be fun, that this could be engaging, that I could be surprised by this. So I'm encouraging you to think of the possibilities, think positively, and see where that takes you as well. All right. There is a deck that I'm not using today, but Wild Unknown, where the Three of Cups is actually like three little birds. But I actually was thinking, instead of Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles, when I was tuning into the Bluebird energy, because people want to sing your praises. I would be remiss not to talk about the voice with the Bluebirds. Give them something good to talk about. So this is a chance to really work hard, because you have that recognition capability. So give them something positive to talk about. Recognition is at hand, but the hard work needs to be there first. So there is a tendency for people to want to latch onto something. And this is where the grassroots energy and word of mouth energy kind of connects. So if you are the conduit, the leader, the doer, the one that's kind of making good stuff happen, then you naturally fall in. And this is how you can call in luck or a good synchronicity, where all of a sudden your hard work, your vision, your everything starts to come together, and it's your time to shine. Okay. So I liked that as well. Also, just let's talk about the fact that, the color of the throat chakra and the bluebird, it's naturally connected. They seem like the best sort of metaphor. And I would also say kind of like a mascot for the throat chakra. So really working on using your voice in a positive way is going to be important. And that was the last piece here too. Don't be afraid to resolve conflict this month. I'm reading for July, but we're in June. So for those of you that are in the middle of a retrograde and trying to make next month better, this is the time to deal with that. Resolution would fall under retrograde, even though communication could be tricky. If there's something you haven't dealt with in a long time, use the energy this month to make next month better. That's why we do this earlier. Diffuse tension for sure, and it's better and it's more powerful for you to be the agent of change than to wait for change to come to you. It's sort of the difference between maybe like being like the emperor versus the tower, or the tower reversed, maybe on the most optimistic version of the tower, where you're like, okay, I know I need to change it, now I'll change it. But by the time that the towers come, it's almost too late. You have no choice but to change. Right now, you can get ahead of it and affect outcome quite a bit, okay? So those are the main messages for the bluebird. Let's shift focus to the palm tree. There's so many varieties, by the way. There was like over 2,600 varieties, I believe. Typically we think of just an average palm tree like you see at the beach. But when I was doing some research, there are some varieties, and I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing it here, but the Colombian national tree, it looks like, yeah, I'm just going to call it the wax palm tree. It can get up to 200 feet, which is amazing. Look at that. It's amazing how tall these trees can grow. That kind of boggles my mind, actually. Here in California, we have some palm trees that are pretty tall, but not that tall. I think some of our windstorms would probably bring it down. So let's talk about what the palm tree represents for you as well. Okay, so of course, we just talked about this Colombian palm tree, rather, that can get up to 200 feet, which is ridiculously tall. I also mentioned there's a lot of different species. There's some that are just on the ground. There's some that are average. There's some that are really wide. There's some that are really tall. But we're going to focus on the higher reaching one. Reach for your dreams and then keep reaching. This is so important for those of you that are artists, business people, like maybe small business owners, starting your own company. Don't let one failure, setback, or rejection stop you. I do read the comments, and I know that there's some people that have tried things that haven't worked out. And sometimes it's so easy to be an armchair critic, right? So if you had the guts to start a company, write a book, do anything that's a little bit out there, and there's somebody that feels like they don't like it, I feel like, they should try to walk in your shoes a little bit. You should, first of all, celebrate the fact that you did something that other people haven't, which is to take a risk, which is to execute upon a vision, and take what you want from the feedback. There's oftentimes kernels of valuable constructive feedback, but if there's someone that's mean or was incapable of connecting with it, you're never going to please everybody. In fact, I would say if you're doing something that's important, particularly if you're an agent of change, and one of the symbols I got in my dreams was the death card. So let's assume some of you are agents of change. If you are a person that is trying to change the way business is done, let's say you've been working in a corporate environment, or you've been working in, or you're trying to change public policy or laws, then a lot of times when you're progressive, when you're working on that bleeding edge, people are going to give you a hard time because it's not the status quo. They're saying to you, why can't you just do what everyone else is doing? We would never grow if that was the case. We would never progress. So I don't know when that became a bad thing, but being able to grow and to expand and to try and to change is exactly why we're on this planet. So if people can't get that about you, or if they're trying to use that as some sort of a bad word, it's not, it's just growth, okay? So you're growing, you're changing, you're perhaps confounding and confusing people, because when we change energy and shift up, just like the palm tree, you're going up here and some of them are still trying to reach. So some of that feedback may be more in the lower frequencies. I would care more if it's a peer that you trust or someone that you look up to, rather than some of the people that aren't in the same mental space. So energy-wise and cognitively, sort of weed out the stuff that is just weeds, is just rubbish, and tune into what matters and use that to affect and to help you get to the next level, okay? A little bit of I went on a little bit of a tangent, but it makes sense, I hope. You and only you know how far you can reach. Surprise others, really work hard. The best way to sort of like, I don't believe in getting even, but to sort of like validate and to overcome that sort of negativity is just to prove yourself right by working hard and executing and eventually pushing through. All right. So you do you, and you let them work on their own sort of energy. Earth and solar energy definitely permeate the palm totem. I think it's really great for this combination of vision, which we would see in 2 of Wands, for instance, or any of the aces, and then also like a grounding energy that you might see in any of the king or queen cards, or any of the like the earth-based cards, so pentacles. So being grounded and resourceful, but also like star and sun energy going really, really high, or even 6 of Wands, and kind of having this ability to reach the masses of the world as well. So we have expansive energy, and then we have grounding energy and controlling energy. So you're going to have to kind of find the way to go between the two and pull that grounding energy up and then broadcast it out. That's kind of what we're seeing here. Using your voice with the bluebird and using this sort of solid energy that we would have with the palm. It looks delicate, but that one tree that we were looking, the Colombian palm, that's really, really tall, obviously it's able to withstand the elements of nature. It's doing something right. So, so you're like that. It's time for you to stand up, to stand out, to be the star. It's not a time to blend in. No wallflower energy this month for you, okay? On the bright side, this tells me that if you just recently launched something or started something, it has a lot of room to grow. It's going to have tall legs here. I think that it's going to go far. So I feel very optimistic about the next quarter or a couple of quarters of the year for you. But you have to keep reaching. If you don't reach, no one's going to reach for you, and you're going to stunt the growth. Okay? There you go. All right, so for the next one, I want to talk about what the vision looked like, and then we'll get to the card. In my dream last night, it looked like someone had left up like holiday decorations for 1.5 years. And I think maybe some of you have done that because of the pandemic and everything, but I was seeing like cobwebs on these decorations. The lights weren't working on some like the Christmas decorations, and it just felt cluttered to me. And I also felt like it was almost like claustrophobic. So I saw you in the dream deciding to go in there and clean it all out. And there was this sort of radiance and this openness and this ability to think clearly. So what can happen is we can get frozen in a moment in time and we can, if you're not moving things around a little bit, how can things change? How can you make space for something new? So do some deep cleaning. I don't just mean, dusting the counters and moving a couple of, vases around or something. I mean, actually like clean and move stuff and get stuff out of the closets. This is going to make a big difference. It's going to help you make a breakthrough. And you have to make space for something new to come into your life. Okay. It's not fun. Who likes cleaning? But some people do, but most of us would rather be focusing on doing something else. Focus on how you're going to feel afterwards and what it's going to allow to shift in your life. So if you feel stuck in your relationship, in your job, in your money situation, in your head, if you're a little depressed, go into the, into your closet, into your filing cabinets, into your cabinets in the kitchen, get some of that old stuff and either find a new home for it, recycle it, or just release it in general. Gift it away if you have children or something. Open it up and say, I want some space in my closet, space in my head, space in my energy, so that I can allow for growth to happen. So it wasn't just casual cleaning, deep cleaning. That was the message. And if you have kept something up for a year and a half, a decoration or something, let's put it away now. That was one of the messages. So it just, it made me laugh a little bit because I was like, there's cobwebs on like it was a Christmas tree and the lights were broken and the branches were falling and there was cobwebs. And I thought, it's done. Let's put that away now. Okay. Some of us kind of got stuck though. The reason I was seeing the Christmas metaphor was like 2019, November, December of 2019. A lot of us are stuck. And I want to kind of like break through that. We're in 2021 now. It's time to move through this. Yes, we're still dealing with the pandemic, but we've changed. We're adapting. We're moving through it. We're going to be okay. And that's what we have to kind of hold with us. And we're going to let go of some of that old stuff, the fear, the frustration, the cobwebs. Okay. The next thing was sometimes I'm actually shown cards because my guides know that it's easy for me to understand what they're trying to tell me if they just show me a couple of tarot cards. So I was shown two. There was a third, but I couldn't make it out. So we'll look at that as the wild card when I go into the soul path. The two that were shown to me were the Death card, everyone's favorite, and the Ace of Cups. I actually really like this combination. So Death card, transformation, change, and release. Ace of Cups, abundance. Not just abundance, but love and happiness and growth. And just like that palm tree, we need that water, that sort of movement, that fluidity to grow, to reach up. So a loss or release in your life could make room for joy and abundance. Also, just the act of releasing, giving things away, will also bring in abundance. One of the ways that you can trigger abundance after a period of stagnation, let's say you've been unemployed for 15 months, then one of the things that you can do is, if there's something in your life that you don't necessarily feel like you need anymore, if you give that to somebody, again, it could be an old shirt, it could just be your time, you could listen to someone and talk to them on the phone. The act of that exchange, that gift, then tells the universe that I'm ready to receive. I'm so ready to receive that I trust that this small token of exchange is not going to bankrupt me. So again, it's actually better in this case if it's not necessarily money. I would rather you give love, time, energy, or an old thing. Like I said, think of the Bluebird, where you're going to be scrappy and you're going to give something old away. And just let it go. Especially if you maybe had something from your old office, something with a brand on it, and you're like, I don't want to see this anymore. Give that to someone else, or give it to a charity or something. That says I'm ready for something better. It's the end of a dry spell. That's what the Ace of Cups was telling me. This dry spell, quote unquote, could mean the end of a lack of abundance. So if, like I said, if you haven't been working, if you haven't found love, if you've just felt like everything has been difficult, let's imagine now that the next 6 to 8 weeks are going to be Ace of Cups energy, receiving something better, seeing the energy flow a little bit more easily. You must make the choices. So I had somebody come to me and they were showing me like 4 blocks. There were names on the blocks, and I could actually see in my head like who they were. It looked like there was like one woman and the other ones were men. But they were trying to have me decide between like opportunities, whether it was a job or friends or something, or love, who knows. But I thought to myself, no, you make that call. I see some opportunities on the horizon for you. If you felt like there's been blocks, there's at least 3 or 4 that are coming up, but you have to make the choice. There's another piece that came through as I was writing this card, which is when you're signing a contract, when you're doing anything in your life, even working with a doctor and you're going to go into surgery or something, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. Don't just give your decision-making ability away. You should always have the ability to say yes or no to something, and you should always have an ability to vote or participate in it. So don't lose that connection, okay? The next piece here is to really check the credentials of whomever it is that you're going to work with and vet out any recommendations that come through. So if somebody is, again, maybe helping you find someone, you need some help, just make sure that you follow up on references, that you have a trial period with something or someone new before committing to it. So when it comes to contracts, I want you to have more of a voice and not to sign away your rights. And if you're like a musician, make sure you can keep your masters or something like that if you cut away from that contract. If you're a writer, make sure that you own the copyright and you're licensing the work to someone. And in a regular job, make sure that you don't have like a non-competitive thing that's going on. In a relationship, it can be a prenuptial. There's a contract element to this, which is why I'm bringing that up. So agreements and contracts, you need to have the ability to basically detach if necessary. And you should also have your rights. You shouldn't be signing away future rights just because you want to engage in some sort of a partnership right now. That's, to me, it's an unrealistic and it's also an unfair sort of exchange. You can agree to like a certain amount of time or a certain amount of money, but when you don't get the right to something that you've created, that rights, I should say, then that's not good. Okay, so these are your main messages. Pretty powerful. Just a quick mini summary, and then we're going to go into the cards. With the bluebird, it's all about the throat chakra. It's about, but in this case, not just necessarily just speaking your truth and all of that, but giving someone something good to speak about. I see recognition happening for you. So if you can put the hard work in now, some really cool stuff can start to happen for you. The palm trees were reminding you to reach higher than you think you can and higher than other people think you can, because they're limited by their own belief system, right? So they're not aware of what you're capable of. Only you know you. So focus on your skills and your dreams and keep pushing. And then clean things up, create some space. And then basically this is setting you up for the lovely Ace of Cups card. But right between you and the Ace of Cups is transformation or change or letting go. So we'll see what death may bring, what changes may happen for you this month. Okay. All right, let me stack up all the cards here. And then if you've missed anything, just a reminder that I will review this at the midpoint along with the cards. So don't worry, and I'll hold the cards up. You can also follow me on social media if you haven't already, because I post pictures of this on Instagram, Facebook, here on the community tab, on YouTube, and then on my website, also on Pinterest. So if you haven't followed me on social media yet, now's a great time. One other quick note before I get into pulling the cards. This month, I'm going to be doing a few bonus readings. And let me see if I have them handy. I don't think I do. You can go to my website and take a look at my schedule there. And if you click on the first link, you'll see it. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So just so you know, there's a mid-month collective that will happen. I'm just going to list the first one on the 13th. I will have a bonus reading the last week of the month, and then I have an end of month collective around the 27th or so. So check out my website. That's the first one. Since I'm doing it, I'm going to give you exact dates. So here's the other two. Yeah, it's the 25th and the 27th. So if you like to kind of join into collective readings, those are the ones there. It's a chance for all signs to be present. I theme them differently every month, so feel free to join in. It's something new, and that's also what I can do because you guys have been really supportive. So please, please, please keep liking, subscribing, and sharing. And thank you to everybody who has kindly also given back. It helps more than you know. Okay, let's tune in to your energy this month. The month ahead, actually, and see what's coming through, Aries. I'm excited. Again, Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. And if you're really experienced and you know different parts of your chart, you can use it for that. This is a very, like a Swiss Army knife, basically, when I make these readings. So however you want to use it, it's fine with me. All right, let's take a look at these messages and see what's coming through here for you. Okay, so let's begin with the warrior card. Be fearless and stand strong. Love this energy. The card was reversed. So for some of you, it may be out of your comfort zone, right? To be the one that is kind of like speaking up or causing a commotion. But sometimes we have to be that change agent. And what I was talking about earlier in the channeled messages, where it's better for you to speak up than to wait for someone else to speak on your behalf. That's what we're seeing with this. Fighting the good fight. You know, he's holding a spear here, so you can almost imagine that this is maybe like a knight or a king of swords a bit, because I would usually kind of see spears as swords. So sometimes it's just really about saying something, getting it out of our head, out of the throat, because it can get stuck there sometimes, and just seeing what will happen. The hardest part sometimes is the coming out. I mean, this isn't a great message. Even though I'm reading for July, this is happening in June. So for many of you, this is Pride Month. So it's a nice symbol of coming out and speaking your truth. Coming out can be anything. It's not just about that. It's not just about sexuality. It can also be about what you stand for in your life, what you care about, what your passion is. Your passion can also be a dream that you have that other people don't understand. So it's always about kind of like breaking through the shadows, breaking through the misperceptions and misunderstandings, and just saying, no, I'm going to state this claim as something that I care about. So what is it that you need to fight for in your life, advocate for, deliver, or come out and say? The bluebird energy is with you. The warrior energy is with you. Definitely, we have some swords here as well coming through that's saying, doing that is going to help you get to the next level. So basically a declaration of some sort will be key to opening up new opportunities and that Ace of Cups that I saw in my head, okay? We have a beautiful 10 of Pentacles here at the center, and 10 of Pentacles can be family, it can be resource, it can be community. It's really good for abundance. I'm just doing a quick scan of the other cards. You have a fear-based 4 of Pentacles, but this is your main resource one is fantastic. So let's lean on this one, because to me, this is the reality. So like I said, whether it's something that you've done previously and it's kind of sitting there and it's ready for your chance to sort of like tap into it or harvest something that you've been growing over time, or all of a sudden through a grassroots effort, because 10 of Pentacles can definitely be community, you know, friends, church, whatever, some sort of a network work as well, that you have. This is your ability to connect with that. It could be marriage for some of you as well. What I like with this, like I said, is the ability to have more. I see that there's just more abundance, more growth. When it comes to those contracts, signing a contract for a new job, signing a contract for a house, signing a contract for marriage, just read the fine print. Because in the health card, we have something that would be equivalent to the devil. So we want to make sure that the contract is healthy for you, that you're not signing something that you are going to regret later. So negotiate. This is something that is fantastic for a retrograde period. Again, I'm reading for July, but you're hearing it in June. So because of that, if there's anything in this month, if you're reading it, if you're watching this live and not in July, what I would say is just negotiate like there's no tomorrow. And even in July, negotiate. because I feel like there's something there that you can sort out and feel better about in the long run. Okay, the Fool card is moving on, and we kind of have two different energies here of like, this is completion and this is starting again. Some of you may sell an old house or get out of something that has been very predictable and very resourceful, but it's sort of like, I'm ready to try something new. And that's okay too. In certain points in our life, we kind of get to like, we've proven everything that we need to. So you may be at the pinnacle of your career, or you may have just been sort of living in a place for a long, long time, or a relationship, a friendship even, has sort of played its course, it's run its course. And you're thinking, all right, I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for something new. So the Fool card is showing just that, this need to stretch out. You don't have to leave this to experience this, however. For some of you, it might be, this could be the coming out, saying, okay, I'm still committed to this, but I need to do this for myself. So it's taking a leap of faith in this direction. And then you're going to see if your partner, your friend, or your coworker is going to support you on that venture. So there's some sort of a tug or a pull that I see here happening between something very, very grounded. This is the palm tree, basically, right? Because this is the earth, and this is reaching up a little bit here, or reaching out. So I can kind of see that need to leave the nest a little bit. So figure out what that means. Is it going to be like an 8 of Cups moment where you're going to take a sabbatical leave for a bit and then come back? Or is it going to be a full-on, no, I'm ready to start something new? And that's up to you, basically. Okay, let's kind of go through the cards as well and get some additional insights here. When I'm looking at what you've been working on over the past several months here, we have the Page of Swords. I like the Page of Swords for you. That's also very bird-like energy. Pages send and receive messages. So one of the things that you want to focus on is how clearly you're communicating, how well you're listening. And whenever I see something that's akin to the Devil card, this one says deceit. So to me, that's like the devil. That's in your health card. And I'm looking at this as a sort of writing card. The devil's in the details. Sometimes that can just mean like being discerning. It doesn't mean that something bad is there. It's just sort of like, no, I'm going to read it and know what I'm signing. Speaking your truth, also standing behind what you've agreed to. Sometimes we say, yes, we're going to do something. Later, you don't want to do it, but you've already made that agreement. So honoring your own agreements, even when they're uncomfortable. In that case, you did it. And this is your chance to just sort of like get through it and push to the next level so that there's no sort of negative karma between you and someone else. Patience is going to be the most difficult thing as we're looking at recent past for many of you, the here and the now. Temperance card is teasing us a little bit sometimes. When you see like 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land, it's trying to understand that you've got this ability to do a little bit of everything to get to the next level, but the speed with which it's happening, some of you want to change that. And that's okay. Figure out, is it just a matter of allocation, like 6 of Pentacles, where I'm going to take a little bit from that and put it here instead? I can't do everything I want. I can't do everything right now. But if I focus on this, then I'll have time to do some of that stuff later. Just being more discerning, I feel, can help. Otherwise, are you making time to meditate and to clear your head? Because I talked a lot about clearing your house, but I also think clearing the mental space is going to be really important as well. If you look closely at this one, we actually have what looks like Mercury or Hermes to me, right? Because he has the winged sandals, the symbol here as well, like the sort of caduceus type symbol that he holds, and of course the winged hat as well. So patience is really important when it comes to your messages. And again, super valid, and I would say it's a synchronicity here that we're seeing this representing past, because I'm reading it during the month of retrograde. So this is for July. So for you, if you can just be patient in your communications this month, it's going to be so important. Take your time to proof stuff. Yesterday, I had to set up all 15 videos for the month ahead. In case you didn't know, that's what you have to do when you schedule it. So I have to put the dates, I have to put the time, I have to put the sign, I have to copy the links, I have to make sure that it's all right, I have to tag it. There's like so much. It takes 3 or 4 hours to do all of that stuff. And so afterwards, I said, no, this is Mercury retrograde, look at stuff. And sure enough, there were a couple where, the time was off or this was off. So I had to go through it like 3 or 4 times to make sure it was all right. It's annoying, right? But you've got to do it. Retrograde is going to mean that you're making some mistakes. You don't have to have the mistake get out there, but you're more apt, if you're in a hurry, to get that mistake. So I had to slow down and read it 3 or 4 times. And then I was able to catch the mistakes. So one tip, that if you have Macs do it, I think PCs do it as well, but you can have the computer read back to you. So a lot of times I'll highlight the text. I go to you can do it in Microsoft Word on any platform and just have it read it to you. Super helpful because your ear will catch things that your eyes won't. You'll hear like a double, article or something like that, or if something doesn't agree, you can hear it. So try that to help out as well. Don't rush communication. And if someone hasn't gotten back to you, assume that they might be busy and start the conversation off with that assumption. Say, hey, I'm sure things are kind of crazy for you right now. I just wanted to check up on this. Is there anything that you need from me? Or, can I help you with it? Always start that way rather than why haven't you, where's my stuff? Why haven't you called me? What's going on? So that's gonna, that patience is gonna help you as well, okay? We have the Knight of Wands here in your crown space. So the crowning card for me, as the more that I've started to read, also has to do with where your head's at, because it's the crown for a reason. So I like that it's upright. You actually have a decent amount of upright cards for a retrograde period, so I like that. So keep yourself focused on your vision and take some action. Knights, to me, always know what to do and how to do it. Look at the fact that I love that he's riding a bird in this particular deck. So going back to like the bluebird energy, what are you doing to deliver the message? What are you doing to spread positive energy? What are you doing to elevate? That's something that I didn't write on the cards, but I'm talking about now when it comes to the palm tree totem. Definitely finding a way to elevate and bring things above. When you see so sometimes if you follow me on Instagram, I put little pictures of my dog and our walks that we take. But there are some streets where in LA, they'll kind of theme them. So you might have magnolias on one street, jacaranda, which are the purple blossoming ones, on another. But then intermittently, there'll be some palm trees interspersed, and they always reach up. And wherever you're at, you can kind of see one of those trees. So I see it as an inspiration. It stands out on purpose. So you're going to have to be like one of those trees. It's reaching up above all of the other sort of day-to-day people or trees around you. It's sort of the same sort of thing. You're standing up, you're standing out a bit. So keep doing that. And we see this person flying. So you're going to have to elevate the thoughts and maybe be the deliverer of them. That's why Mercury is coming through, or Hermes is coming through and saying, all right, we're going to do this. I'm going to be the one that's bringing this to the next level. Okay. We've got Queen of Cups in the near future. It's a really good card portending good things when it comes to love and emotional health as well. I also like that she's kind of echoing the energy. Patience paid off. She looks like a mature version of Temperance, right? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Hers is actually not touching the ground, the other one, but we still see that idea of things start small, big idea starting small. She's just dipping her foot in the water. So if there's something that you're really emotionally getting behind, just take that first step, dip your foot in the water and see where it takes you. You'll be surprised. Others may be surprised too. Definitely a good month to find love or to connect or to inspire other people. I do love in the expanded forecast, so hold for that. And I'll talk more about this through the lens of love, but I'm definitely seeing this being an interesting time for new relationships with the 10 of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups right by each other, okay? And it could be something new too for some of you. All right, let's focus on yourself, the soul here. We have the 6 of Wands. What a great card coming through here. This is the recognition that I saw too. And one of the things here, notice how she's standing up and above and out, and she has like the falcon or whatever on her shoulder as well. It's almost like this message here was delivered and she's now the messenger kind of carrying that with it. I love these cards because they have a continuity to them. But with the 6 of Wands, you can be an agent of change. You can make something happen. And again, we see not like this big auditorium filled with people. We see, just 5 or 6 people and her, and that's it. And it starts small. Remember, when you're doing something that matters, that you're doing it because it feels right. You're speaking from what? The heart, right? Ace of Cups or Queen of Cups here. So as long as this is activated, these people are interested. This is the energy that I saw where someone wants to recognize you. Success is here. It's ready, ripe for the picking, but you have to do something that's worthy of that success or that recognition. So focus on doing the right thing, because knights do the right thing in this sort of most heightened version of a knight. So do the right thing, put your heart into it 100%, and then the recognition comes through, okay? Don't play to the crowd. That's something that I always like to remind people of with the Six of Wands. Do what's right, not what's popular. Eventually, sometimes what's right becomes popular. So maybe you're trying to popularize something that's new to people. All right, we have the Hermit card reversed. Time to come out of that shell. This is in the environment. So for some of you, there's a tendency to maybe say no. If I got the Three of Cups reversed, that would be sort of like an unlikely hermit, where you have a lot of invitations, but you're saying no to them. The Hermit reverse says, I want to come out of my shell, but I don't know how, or I'm a little bit afraid. So this card is just saying you have everything that you need. The fact that he's holding the lantern or the candle here is saying he's learned everything that he needed to from that period of self-reflection. So wrap up whatever it is you're trying to learn about yourself, because you know the world is knocking on your door right now, and it's time. So we can reflect forever. I love the Hermit. It's probably one of my favorite cards because it always has an interesting illustration to it. In fact, I was geeking out the other night and reading on this a little bit. You could see this as the elevated version of the Magician, which is why a lot of times he looks like a wizard, right? So you are beyond, like you've gone through the Magician, through the High Priestess, the Emperor, the Empress. You're kind of on this new journey where you've brought through this feeling like I can own it, I know how to do it, but am I ready to show this new strength? There's a hidden strength. That's why there's a cloak. We can't really see, you know, the wonderful wizard or witch that's underneath this because they're hiding a little bit. So I want you to come out of your shell. There's some cool energy that people are interested in, okay? So when you're ready, they're ready. The only limiting card thus far, actually, is in Hopes and Fears. So if I was going to get a limiting card, I'm actually happy that it's here. What are you holding on to, Aries? That's what I want to know. Because the Four of Pentacles here it can be a foundational card, as we see, but it's usually a restrictive card. You can see him also kind of like hoarding this pile of coins or cash. Usually Four of Pentacles, you would see someone kind of like holding on to a big coin in front of their heart, and it's sort of like, I'm afraid that if I let go of this, something won't replace it, or I think this is all I can get, or I don't want to share this about me, aka the Hermit energy, because I'm afraid that people may not support me. You might be right on some of those, but the people that will support you, these are the ones that you can truly love and depend upon in the future. So part of growth is loss. That's one of your difficult but important messages this month, and I had to scribble it real fast because I was I was against the time limit here. But yeah, let's see, what did I write here? Loss or release will make room for joy and abundance. So whenever you lose a quote unquote friend that can't support or understand what you're doing, were they really your support or your friend? Also, if you're dealing with family members that reject you, it's hard. I've been there actually. But I've also seen how they've grown over time. So someone that may have rejected you 10 years ago may also have had an amazing growth spurt. And I've seen people change in my family and change radically. So it is possible. Because when faced with the idea, let's say that you love someone, you want to get married. It could either be like a career or a love path. So if you want to, you know, your parents want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, and you want to be an entrepreneur or an artist or something, you're going to follow that path, be successful. And eventually, if you're successful and you're happy, how can they not be happy for you? Especially if other people are singing your praises. So all you have to do is follow that path, and then they seem petty if they are not with you. And if they don't support who you love because it didn't match their expectations, if faced with the option of loving you or not loving you, most people will choose loving you. If they don't, then they're incapable of unconditional love. And it gives you the freedom to not feel tethered to their approval or disapproval because they didn't have what it takes, basically. So give people the chance to prove or disprove their capacity, and give them time and be patient and keep the messaging positive. Don't meet fire with fire. Try to transmute. That's all we can hope to do in this particular lifetime. So stay strong, stay truthful to yourself. And again, Pride Month isn't a great time for this message for everyone. Be proud of who you are and don't let people take that away from you, whatever it is, whether it's love, whether it's career, whether it's passion, or it's a part of you. Embrace that and give people a chance to elevate. You're the palm tree right now and you're standing out, but you're not always going to be the only palm tree. Other people will rise up too. Ace of Swords in reverse. This is so important. Don't be overly critical of yourself. Definitely, criticism is a great way to grow. It's a great way to reach up, but too much criticism can stunt growth. It can actually make you, it's almost like post-traumatic stress, right? You think of one rejection and you think everything's going to be like that. The energy this month is of support and success. So think more highly of yourself. Think more highly of what is possible. Speak more highly. Don't be self-deprecating. It's easy to do. If you're going out for dinner for some reason and it's one person, never say it's just me. If someone says just one, say it's one, it's me. Like don't let people get away with that. Don't say that for yourself. If you're picking up the phone and just say, oh, it's just me. Don't get some of that stuff out. It's you. You're shining like a star this month. And if someone says, well, why should I listen to you? And then just be ready for like all the reasons why. Get yourself set up for success and really work on self-confidence this month, because this is an ace after all. And we see someone here fighting for what they believe in, okay? So use thoughts and words in a higher way. Don't use lower words to meet someone with a lower sort of vocabulary. Try to bring it up to something higher, and it's going to be really important. You could be signing a contract. Ace of Swords is fantastic for that. You could be starting a new job, something good, something with the signature on the dotted line. And you may be standing up or doing something new. So definitely a breakout month for you. But you have to let go of something. I don't know what you're holding on to, but we'll look at that when I go into the soul space later. I'm going to write it down because after I do the review, sometimes I forget this stuff. So I want to ask the question, what are you holding on to? So that I can help you with that, because I want you to be able to release it. All right, let's go ahead and do the expanded forecast, and then we'll get into the review. All right, so for the expanded forecast, we have a health card here. You could see this either as the Seven of Swords or the Devil, because they're both kind of very similar. So sometimes the Seven of Swords is the lie that we tell to ourselves. Same thing with the Devil card. It can also be about someone who doesn't have your best interest at heart. So what we're looking at in your life is detoxification and letting go of anything that is holding us down, holding us back, including not being completely honest with ourselves or others. So whatever it is in your life that is holding you down like an anchor or holding you back, whatever you might be having a hard time just articulating or saying, you're going to be okay. And you're going to feel so much better when that stuff is out in the open. Okay. Let's look at it with respect to health using just the cards themselves. So some things that I'd like you to focus on for health. Definitely some of you are feeling like you're alone or isolated. That's the face value of the Hermit card. You're on your own, but you're not on your own because the card is reversed. So you're here. This is a community, but some of you may need to find a professional like a psychologist or a support group, or just to hang out with some friends. It feels like the social energy that I picked up on with the Bluebird is definitely permeating the Hermit card as well. So find a way to share your experiences, to share your thoughts, to get out there. So socialization is important. And it feels like there are people that are ready and willing to connect with you because you have 10 of Pentacles and 6 of Wands there. Are some of you afraid perhaps of performing in front of people or getting in front of a crowd? Because these are definitely cards that would be associated with that visibility. And this is about like, I don't know if I can do it, or wanting to run away from that. You really shouldn't do that though, because the 10 of Pentacles is a growth opportunity. So work on finding a way to get over anxiety or fear of being around people. I think a lot of us have that now that we didn't in the past, because we were taught for 15 months that you can't touch people, can't be around people, can't breathe around people. So as we start to depending on which part of the world you are and where the vaccination rates and all this other stuff is going, it's going to depend on that. But socialization is something that's picking up a little bit now. So if you're dealing with anxiety about anything, talk to someone. It's an important time right now for that. All right, let me see what else is coming through here in the cards. You actually had pretty positive stuff. So let's go back to this and just say, get a second opinion on things. anything. So this could be your financial advisor. This could be a doctor that you're going to. It will help you get a rounder view of what's possible. So there's nothing to be lost by getting another perspective this month. That's the most valuable thing. And I would say just open up to listening to another point of view. Okay, so those are the main things. Overall, your health looks pretty good. With the Four of Pentacles, if you're holding on to stress, the ways that this could happen, like Four of Pentacles can be gaining weight. It can also be because you're holding on to something or creating this padding between you and your fear. It can also be stress in the heart space, so blood pressure and things like that. We don't want that to happen for you. So work on stress relief. That's the biggest thing that came through. And then be honest with yourself and others and get a second opinion on things. Okay. Wealth. Don't hate, meditate. All right. So are you getting the messages around patience this month? It's really coming through pretty loud and clear. First of all, if there is something that needs a decision that you need to make this month, just like you were handing me in my dream, like 4 different things and telling me to pick, I didn't want to pick for you. I think for you, you just should kind of tune in and think, which one do I fear the most? Which one do I look forward to the most? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Just kind of tune in a little bit because you already know. It's kind of as if a hidden card here that we don't see is Judgment Reverse, which is, I know what I need to do. I know what's wrong, but I don't know why I haven't accepted that. And so I'm trying to help you figure that out today so the Judgment Reverse doesn't actually come through. You should have space and time to think. Are you so busy right now in whatever it is that you're occupying your time with that you don't have time to breathe? So if it's a really busy job, or if your family situation is stressing you out a lot, or if you just feel like I've lost me, then take some time at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. Like if you have time to take a bath at the end of the night while everyone's going to sleep, just kind of chill out a little bit there. Or in the morning, as you're brushing your teeth, close the door, meditate. You can do it while you're doing other tasks, not while you're driving. But you can do it sort of like before or after your day has started at home. Just carve out 1 or 2 minutes to just set the expectations. And then like, especially before the evening is done, hang up the worries so that you can just go to bed and not sit there and keep running the cycle. Let me look at some other wealth cards. Okay, like I said, the reality of what's possible is 10 of Pentacles. But some of you may be living with a temporary situation of the 4 of Pentacles. So this is potential. This is what's going on. So I said it starts small but gets big. Some of you may need to partner up for that kind of stuff, or ask for help or get a loan. How are you going to bridge the gap? Because for some of you, there is a little bit of a resource gap, but it doesn't indicate potential. It just indicates like the current situation. Never imagine that you are solely what your current job is. There's a line in Neil Gaiman's Stardust where the star, actually, I forget her name right now, but she was telling the main character, you're not a shop boy. You work in a shop. She said, but you've got more than that. Like just because you're in one part of your life doing something, whether you're a student, whether you're doing a job that you hate and you don't think this isn't me, that's not you. That's just you at this moment. So think about what you want to be and how you're going to get there, and then chase after your dreams. He literally chased a falling star, shooting star, and it was a cool little story. It's for kids, but it's actually a cool adult story if you want to read Stardust by Neil Gaiman. But I like that, which is you are not your job. You are not your physical sort of this moment in time. You're more than that. So this is really about getting to the vision of what you think you can do, and you might surprise yourself. Okay, so don't limit yourself. For those of you that tend to underestimate, undercharge, whatever it is, this is also about basically fixing that. So if you are someone who normally doesn't negotiate high enough, negotiate higher in a contract, okay? If someone's not paying you enough in a job, you've got to speak up. But have the data to back it up so that you can say, I did this, I did this, I did this. We talked about it 3 times 2 years ago. Nothing's happened. It's time. This is a more competitive market, so you might have some more capacity to get where you want to go. All right, let's take a look at love and relationships. We have holy love coming through here. This is higher love to me as well. So some of you may be kind of like over relationships this month and looking for something deeper. This is a spiritual path as well. So great time if you're not looking for love to kind of go deeper into a personal passion or into a spiritual path. That's basically the essence of this card. This could also be if we think of the Lovers card in tarot, there's an angelic entity behind the two lovers. You could see this as the realization or the manifestation of someone that you're calling in. And maybe there's been a lot of love that hasn't fit that category of higher love. But this time around, you're feeling that higher energy. So I like what I'm seeing here with respect to that. So hold that expectation for something higher and better than maybe that you have experienced, and be patient. When you are picky, it takes longer. But we see perhaps someone in the form of the Queen of Cups coming into your life. Let's look at it in 3 different areas. We're going to look at looking for love, in love, or just open to what's coming through. Not necessarily not looking for love, but not focusing on love. If you're looking for love right now, I definitely see the potential to have a random sort of connection. This, to me, with the Fool card, you could just meet somebody in everyday life. This isn't something that you have to like swipe on an app or anything for. You could just, through your day-to-day journey, meet somebody. And the interesting thing that I'm looking at here, there's a few cards here. We have some pages, we have some knights, but I'm going to look at you and who's probably coming in. So when I see you, it's the Knight of Wands. So for many of you, you're very much in your headspace right now this month, and that's okay. And you may be so focused on things that you miss something, but I see someone with a little bit more wisdom, experience, maybe even age coming through. They're much more patient than you are. And so this could actually, isn't it interesting when you're with someone who is very patient, it can try your patience because they're very relaxed. They could be difficult to, if you're used to fighting with someone or being able to kind of like, if you're high octane, like a hummingbird, this person would be like really slow, really calm. And this could drive you crazy a little bit, but I like their energy. There's a kindness here. There's a passion as well, but they wait. This person wants to get to know you first. And if there is a new meeting, it is going to start off casual. This is the most casual of any love card that I could pull. This means like you've just met. There's no strings attached. It's very, very, I'm still getting to know you. 3 of Cups would mean we're not exclusive, but maybe there's something. 2 of Cups, you're starting to get more serious. But with the Fool, if you've met someone, just take it slow, take it easy, and don't put too many expectations. Don't freak them out on the first date. If you start to talk about everything at once, I've done this before. It can, especially for those of you that are intuitives, if you put it all on the line at the beginning, there'll be a lot of first dates because people don't want to hear about ghosts and things like that. So take it slow. Just listen. Let them do some talking, and that's going to be a better experience for you. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. I think it would be really important. We're talking about credentials here. Make sure that you know this is why you want to take it slow. I do feel like they could be holding back a little bit. It's not necessarily a lie. They could be worried about, can they share everything with you? So sometimes you have to just say that you are very open-minded, that it's hard to shock you, that you are always happier to hear something from that person than to find out from someone else. Just say it's safe. This is a safe space to really kind of bring whatever you need to bring in. As long as I know what's going on, we'll be fine. Say stuff like that, and that's going to set a nice foundation, because this is a foundational card, for a rich future between the two of you. Now, if you're in love right now, it feels like you need some space. The Fool card is literally like getting a breath of fresh air. The Hermit card is saying, I need my space. I feel like some of you are, and even if we look at the two, they're going in separate directions. So you could have grown apart a little bit. You could be driving each other a little crazy. There could be things that you're not talking about to one another. You're holding back a little bit. So I feel like being honest about what it is you want or don't want, what it is that's driving you crazy or not. Communication has to open up. Sorry, my neighbor's walking their dog out there. So being able to kind of sort this out is going to be key. So communication has fizzled a bit, or one or both of you are pulling back a little bit. So you got to meet in the middle. Okay. The Knight of Wands is a very expressive card, not a very verbal card. So you can show how you feel through actions. It can also be having a little bit more time and intimacy with that person, not necessarily having to say anything, but just being close and taking some time off your calendar from work and other activities to just be there with them. I think these are the important things, and not to be critical, not overly critical anyway. Okay, now if you're not looking for love this month, what we see here is that patience is going to pay off. I still feel like you might have a really great acquaintance coming into your life. This could be a mentor, and it could be a source of inspiration as well with the Queen of Cups here. So for many of you, you're just feeling this sense of maybe it could be a movie that you've watched or a book that you've read, and all of a sudden there's this feeling like, oh, wow, that's what I want to do. Maybe you reach out to them or whatever, but I see a sort of a wealth or a wellspring of information coming through there. So great time to take on a mentor if you want to. You still may find a new friend or love this month because of your patience and your lack of caring, because that's really what I'm seeing here with Temperance and the Fool card. If you think to yourself, I could take it or leave it, then all of a sudden a lot of options start to line up for you. So, so a sort of disconnection from that. I saw, like, for those of you that really don't care, it might be 3 or 4 options on the plate for you of new things that you could put your time and energy into. So it's a good time to sort of have that casual view. Tell the universe, I'm ready for something really good. Surprise me. Show me an abundance of options, because you'll get it in that perspective. And it doesn't have to be love. Again, it could be, it could just be some new friendships and new work situations or a mentor coming in. The only thing that I want you to be aware of when we look at these two again is this one's more, they're both expressive. This one's a little bit more demonstrative and can sometimes act before speaking and thinking, and this could upset the other person that you're calling in. So just make sure that you check expectations and assumptions with the other person, and don't say too much too fast, and don't speak up, or just basically take it slow. I think that's enough. Give and take. Let the other person show their cards as well. All right, let's look at your destiny card, and then we'll get on to the review. So this is reversed, but it reminds me of a tree. We have the rings of time. So if you've ever looked at a cross section of a tree that has been cut down or has fallen down, you'll see like there are rings, concentric rings for each year that the tree has lived. And you'll see some that are really, really small, some that are really big, showing how much, you know, water and minerals and resources, or if there was a fire, you might even see like a charred line or something like that. So when we're looking at the rings of time, where are you at in your life? Have you taken that cross section and looked at how far you've come? Maybe all the tough stuff that you've been through, really starting to sort of like realize, I'm okay, I'm doing well. This is taking stock of all of that stuff. So I think planning and reflecting a little bit could be really, really valuable for you at this moment. So imagine that you could take a cross section of your life and look at that. We also see someone here. It almost looks like they're sitting down here as well, contemplating, but I almost see them pushing that behind them too. So realizing that maybe the best is yet to come, the most difficult pieces have been pushed into the past, and you're ready to let them go. Okay, let's do a quick mini review, and then we're going to move along to the soul space, where as one of the questions, I'm going to ask what you're holding on to, but I also want to see the opportunity for like what's coming in to looking at death as transformation or rebirth. We'll look at that as well. All right, so let's quickly review, and then we will take a look at the soul space afterwards. If you just joined, good timing. Even if you've been here, stick around, because there'll be some additional messages that come through. So you have a dual totem this month, the bluebird and the palm tree. Bluebirds are very social, and we saw a lot of social energy here with the 10 of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands. But ironically, there's this pulling back that's happening with like the Fool and the Hermit. So for some of you, it's figuring out like, how can I get over some anxiety, or how can I work with this group? I mentioned that they can sometimes be in a flock of 100 or more birds, which is really cool. There are helper birds that come in and assist with raising other baby birds, even if it's not their offspring. And I thought it was cool that a lot of times these are male birds. So overcoming any sort of like gender or gender boundaries, I think is key. Like, we can do whatever we want to. I hope we're getting there eventually. There's power in numbers. That's the main message that came through with that. If you need help, ask for it. If you can lend help, give it. Everybody wins in that scenario. You can start a big idea really, really small here. So leverage grassroots efforts. So when you think of grass as it's like nature's ground cover, it grows everywhere, and just a few little specks of grass there, they can spread out. It's the root system, basically. That's why we talk about grassroots. They send little seedlings or little feelers out there, and new blades of grass grow from that. So spread out your feelers and rely on other people to spread the message as well. Think big, even if the beginning is small. Recycling, reusing, and being scrappy is the main message of this card, because the birds often make a home in something that's been burnt or is dead. Breathing new life into something as well. Instead of starting from scratch, you might be able to leverage something that you've already started but maybe kind of put to the wayside, and now's the time to do something about that. Imagine that whatever you're working on could be easier or go faster. It's not only going to make you happier, it actually might manifest. People are ready to sing your praises, 6 of Wands here. So give them something good to speak about. Could also be like 3 of Pentacles, which is achieving and recognition. Use your voice to resolve conflict. It's better for you to say it than to wait for someone else to come to you, because then you actually have you have the advantage of starting it and kind of like not necessarily taking them by surprise, but you're taking the initiative and you're leading the conversation or the charge. Palm trees can get really tall. I didn't do the kilometer breakdown on that, but 200 feet is really tall. And so what you're really focusing on is this ability to stand out and reach higher and keep reaching, even if or especially if other people have rejected you, or you've had a setback, or there's some sort of perceived failure. It could just be redirection. I've said this before, that failure is just the universe kind of helping you from making some sort of a mistake, or rejection is often like a redirection from the universe. Only you know how far you can reach, so don't stunt your own growth, basically. The earth and solar energy are part of the palm tarot, part of the totem. And what you want to focus on with this is staying grounded, like the Pentacles energy, but also reaching, becoming the star. The Hermit holds the star, even if he's not ready to be it. So that's what I see for you. Hard work, having a creative vision, and doing that outreach. I forgot to mention those at the beginning here. That's going to be really, really important for you. It's time to stand out. It's better that you stand out now and do what you need to do than to try to be the hermit, because you're doing yourself a disservice. Do the deep cleaning, put the Christmas tree away. It's the middle of the year. It's time to kind of create some space in your house and in your mind as well. Meditation, we saw here coming through as well. Think of this all as being some sort of a breakthrough. Letting go of something old will make room for something new. The Death card here is basically the portal, and the Ace of Cups is what's on the other side. So going through that death energy can always be a little tricky, but it's worth it because it makes room for abundance, basically. It's transformation. That's what I called it in my book, and I think it's a better word for death. Right now it's time for your dry spell to be over. Just think of this as like springtime energy coming in. You're going to have to make the tough choices in your life. However, you can't give that decision to other people, and you can't sort of sign away the ability to do what you want to do in the long run. Check all the credentials and vet out recommendations. Get a second opinion too. That's something that we saw here, just in case you missed something. We have the card here saying be fearless and stand strong. It was reversed, but you see it upright when I turn the camera in reverse, or turn it upside down. So basically this is the truth of it, which is you have what it takes. So speak up, stand up, and make the change happen in your life. We have the very, very resource-rich 10 of Pentacles at the center. It could mean new love. It could mean a new job. It's something new around something very stable. It could also mean unexpected growth in that area as well. For those of you in a relationship, the Fool card also comes in because some of you are ready to spread your wings a little bit. The question here is, can both of you connect? Because in an existing relationship, there's this sort of distant energy. So coming together, having more sort of time, just intimacy together time is going to be really key. Devil in the details, so make sure that you've learned the lesson from the past. It's coming back this month to just be discerning and picky and to read everything. And then we have the Temperance card here about patience, and patience pays off. There's also the messenger energy here with Hermes or Mercury, because we see all the sort of indications of that particular god. So I would say for you, patience in listening, patience in delivering a message and making sure that it's heard is going to be key. Keep your head in the right place, and you might have to be the one that stands up and delivers something. We have like a couple of knights and an Ace of Swords here. So I basically see this chance for you to move something forward. If you won't do it, no one else will. Queen of Cups, creative energy, sensitivity, possibly new love, your own passion being channeled into other things. Really nothing negative because she's upright. It reminds me a little bit of the High Priestess card because of the way the moon is positioned here. So some of you might actually be seeing something come through, especially when it comes to love or relationships. So this is your chance to see something, the fruits of your labor or your manifestation. Six of Wands, success. Just remember to do the work so that people have something to cheer about. And let's see it as that, cheering and supporting you in whatever your truth is, which we've talked a lot about today. Don't fear what people have to say. Fear not doing what you need to do. Usually every time I've rehearsed something in my head, it's not as bad as it actually is when you start to speak, because the other person intuits, interrupts, and is oftentimes more supportive than you imagined. So just get this stuff off your chest and you're going to be happy that you did that. We're going to look in a second here when I do the soul path on what you can release. With the Ace of Swords, I mean, an ace to me is always an ace and it's positive. So just don't be overly critical. Don't be afraid to take action. And yeah, I feel like some really good things are on the horizon for you. It could be also the signature of something new. And I'm just now looking at what looks like a little wolf or something hopping over the flame here. So if you've been going through a really tough period, this might be your time, like I said, to end a dry spell, or you're going to be able to avoid the pain or the discomfort this time because you've learned your lessons. You're not going to go back into that fire. You're the phoenix here, or this little spritey wolf that's going above here, okay? So I like that. Also, there's a forging energy that we see with this. So this could just simply be about reforging and deciding to create something stronger. I talked to one sign last month about that. You have the ability, you're like a blacksmith. You can always go in and take something and make it better. Honesty is really, really important when it comes to health this month. If someone in your life is incapable of telling you the truth or has been using sort of like Devil/Seven of Swords energy, hiding something, not being truthful, not following through, it's time to cut ties with that person. For yourself, just being honest with what you are ready to do as well, because if you're not ready, then it's not going to happen. Most of your health cards are pretty good this month. It'd be good to do some more walking. We see a lot of water this month. So if you're able to swim or want to get by the water, that's going to be good as well. I like that she's at the bottom of this waterfall. I did waterfall as a totem last month. So emotionally speaking, it feels like you've been through it. There's more patience now. You're not going to go through that again. So I really like how calm she is. She's kind of just here waiting in the pool. She's already been down the cascades or the falls. Looking at wealth here, we have making time to just breathe. And if you don't have time to breathe or clear your head, do that before making a big move in your life, of course. But if your head space is just too cluttered, then this is a sign as well. If you literally don't have time to think, you need to reach out. You need to find a way to clear that. Don't limit yourself, because I see a lot of potential and I see success. If someone else is holding you back, cut them free as well. You don't have time for that. You have too many positive cards here with wealth. It could be a new job. It could be moving for a job. It could be selling your house, because the Fool and the Ten of Pentacles, if you've been trying to sell it, Ten of Pentacles is great. That tells me you get asking or more than asking. So hold out for the best offer. If you're trying to look for a house, it's tough. It's tough. This is where I saw 4. You could be one of 4. And it's almost like they're doing an eeny, meeny, miny, mo at some point. If the all offers being equal, just be patient and assume that the universe is going to help you find the best possible connection in work, in love, and in other opportunities. Speaking of love, we have higher love, holy love. For many of you, there's a spirituality that's coming through here this month, and you might be deciding to focus more on personal development. Good for you. If you're looking for love this month, there is a patient energy here, but the patience may drive you crazy. That's the one thing that I picked up on. In existing relationships, there is a distance or a need to sort of get some time away from each other. I think eventually you also need to come together as well and talk and sort of figure things out, but you may first need some space. If you're not looking for love, that's okay. A lot of creative and passionate energy still coming through. You have a very attractive energy, Queen of Cups, Six of Wands. So you may not want love, but you might get a lot of social energy this month, which I like. And then finally, the Rings of Time, which we're looking at here, is the sort of patience energy too. Where am I going? How long have I been working on this path? Why am I so impatient? When is it going to turn around, etc.? Ultimately, though, this tells me that you have what it takes to keep going. So keep going. All right, let's expand your forecast now. Let me take a quick drink before I do that. And then we're going to look at the first thing I wrote down was what are you holding on to, or maybe what's holding you back? So let me start with that question, then I'll get on to the next one. What are you holding on to, Aries? Fear of the unknown is what's holding you back, I would say. The card is reversed, so Eight of Swords is actually a beneficial card in reverse because it's about taking off the blindfolds, and it's about stepping away from something that is too restrictive. So I never noticed the bull behind this one as well. So it looks like we have a bull in the background. So for some of you, stubbornness, that this is the only way to do this, because if I think of someone that's bullheaded or pigheaded, they're kind of like stuck in a particular way of doing something. So in this, I would say, don't be stubborn, try something new, step into the unknown and see where it might take you. Looks like he has solar tattoos on his hand. It's hard to see, but it looks like the symbol for the sun. So for some of you, I would say also imagining now that, because to me, I also can see this as being like ego or stubbornness stepping in. So I would say, don't let one idea of what was possible hold you back from a new possibility coming through. So it doesn't always happen the way you want it to happen. But movement, you just have to like take that first step, and I feel like you're going to be okay. Notice how it's not a real prison when you look at Eight of Swords. He's actually not tethered by anything in the front here. And there's no actual ties on his wrists, right? So he could just decide to do this, take the blindfolds off, and step away from those swords. It's the fear. It's the fear of the unknown. So don't be afraid. Talk to some people. For some of us, ambiguity or new beginnings cause anxiety, because you might be looking at your bank account and saying, if I keep doing this, I can depend on this. If I do this, I don't know if it's going to work or last. If you're trying to get out of a relationship and there's a lot of security there too, maybe because of the wrong things, like you're looking just at health insurance, roof over, like it's not the wrong things, but not the right reasons to stay in a relationship. Walking away from what's safe but not satisfying and looking at what might be giving you more room for growth. It's fear of unknown. That's what I'm seeing here. There's fear of unknown. It's keeping you in a relationship or in a job or in a house or in a way of thinking. And you just need to release that fear and think, well, what if there was something better? What could I do to make that happen? You don't have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Find your plan B before you give up your plan A. Make sure that you're okay. All right, let's just look at the death card that I got that I didn't like, that I got in my head. I think for the next two, I want to look at death and Ace of Cups. So let's take a look. I have a funny question here. You should not worry about winning lotto. You should focus on yourself. Focus on investing in yourself, because that's a guaranteed investment. Take your time and energy and do something for you. One of the messages I said earlier was don't give stuff away to other people. Don't give your decision-making ability to other people. And literally with gambling, there's a difference between taking a leap of faith and gambling. Gambling, usually the odds are against you. The odds are always for you when you invest in yourself. So invest in yourself in something that matters. So education, meditation, health, working out, saving money, put that money in the bank. Go buy a stock or something. That's a better investment. So I don't normally look at that, but it actually falls into one of the messages. And so you might have joined afterwards, but I don't want you to give stuff away. I want you to invest and create and nurture rather than that. So there you go. All right, for the next message, I want to look at death, and then I want to look at the Ace of Cups. So the reason I mentioned that is because you had it backwards. Invest in yourself. Don't invest in the lottery. And don't think that the lottery will give you stuff to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is not money. It's thoughts, it's time, it's energy, it's procedures, it's everyday stuff. Money is just one resource. Okay, It's an important one. We all need it, but it's just one. That's why I don't look on the side. It distracts me. Okay, let me look at death and transformation and movement. Hold questions for the end, and then ask them silently. Death, death, change, transformation. Okay. All right, we've got the 10 of Cups here. So the opportunity for many of you, we also see like a rainbow. This is what I was talking about, the dry streak being over. So for some of you, there is this, it's kind of like finding a new tribe of people too, because this card was reversed. I want you to be able to receive rather than give. A 10 of Cups reverse tells me that you have the capacity to give a lot to others, but may sometimes be it might be difficult for you to be on the receiving end. So say to yourself as a mantra this month, it's something that I say a lot in our meditations, but I'm ready for love and abundance in the highest forms. Without any sort of restrictions, I'm ready for all the love and abundance that the universe wants to give me in the highest forms. It's always good to put in the highest forms because that makes sure that you're not just getting random stuff. So start to say, I am open to receive. I am ready to receive the highest blessings, the highest love, all of the love and abundance that's available in the highest forms. I release the restrictions. I release this feeling that I can't get it. And then for many of you, the change could be new love. I asked what the transformation could be, new love or new friendship with the 10 of Cups. There could also be a big transition in your family because I was asking about death. You might lose someone, but you might also meet someone new. A lot of times a big shift opens the door up. So it's kind of like a revolving door. That's how death works. It's not just one way. So as one exits, another enters. And that's what I'm seeing for you. An exit and an entrance. And it could be a friend or a lover. And you could lose someone that you really love too, but you're probably going to gain someone too. It doesn't have to be death. It could just mean that like breaking up, or kind of like even with a friendship, sometimes you fall away rather. Someone new falls into your life. I like it. It's just telling me that the transformation is new love, the transformation or new friendship. The other piece of this is opening up to receive a blessing too. And then the last one here was we're looking at, because that kind of answered the Ace of Cups. So now we'll just do the wild card. 9 of Swords, very much in alignment with the 8 of Swords. So let's look at all 3 of these, which were reversed because they tell a story. This is the fear of the unknown. This is also kind of a self-imposed prison that you make for yourself. This is what's waiting for you when you step outside of it. This is you freaking out and not seeing it. So blinded, hello, this is something floating out there saying, I'm ready for it. So let's mourn whatever it was, the loss of the past or whatever happened. There is some discomfort around you, but there's also a celebration. There's a rainbow and there's friendship and there's something happy at that other end. So getting through the moment without losing path or without losing a focus on what's at the end of that path is going to be really important for you. All right, so a couple of notes here. We're going to meditate in a moment, and then I'm going to answer that final question. So for those of you that were typing questions, hold it in your head. I'm going to look at it in about a minute and a half. So whatever your final question is, think about that. Before I get there, just a couple of quick notes. If you like what you saw here and you're new, please consider hitting like and subscribe. Subscribe is something you only have to do once. So if you've already done it, thank you. You can only hit like once in any video. So if you've done it, thank you. But if you haven't, know that this helps me. It's kind of like holding up a little candle. I can see that you're out there. So please do that. It helps the channel growth. It helps me do new videos. And I don't know why people don't hit subscribe, but please hit it because it will allow me to do more. So if you ever want me to do more, I want to launch a podcast and things like that. I need some more subscribers. So the more you support me, the more I can give back to you. It's win-win. If you'd like to follow me on social media for reminders of when I'm doing new videos, follow me at Nicholas Ashbaugh on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Goodreads. You can also use Patreon if you prefer to set it your own sort of contribution instead of joining here on YouTube. That's an option too. The other thing that you can do is follow me on Twitter. It's at @Ashbaugh. And that's it for now. I'll talk about some other ways to give back afterwards. Let's go ahead and do the meditation. For today's meditation, I think we should like reach up and touch the sky like a palm tree, right? And maybe I like the idea of sort of being by an oasis. So you can imagine that you're in a tropical setting or in a desert by this oasis, and you're going to reach up to touch the stars or touch the sky. So the meditation will take no more than 1 or 2 minutes. While I'm getting set up here, just find yourself a place to sort of be comfortably seated, and let's open up to abundance, love, abundance, and prosperity as we do this meditation, okay? So close your eyes and imagine that you are at your favorite location, wherever there are palm trees. So it could be a beach, it could be an oasis, it could just be you looking at the tree and imagining like this little pool of water, like I just showed you in that card. I don't care. But see this really tall palm tree and imagine that you are laying down on the ground on a blanket, but feeling the support of the sand beneath you. As you take this first breath, I want you to feel almost as if it's like the universe holding you up there, and whatever you don't want, you can let it go. The sand is like a gigantic sponge or sieve. It's going to absorb the energy that you don't need or want in your life. So nice deep inhale. Exhale. Let go of whatever you've been holding on to. It feels so good to breathe it out, to let it go, to release any of the sort of kinks that you have in your neck and your back and just feel supported. You can even imagine a hammock if you want, but I like the idea of being on the ground. So if you can do that, do that. With the next breath, I want you to focus on the sun. Imagine that it's just behind the top of the palm tree, so that a few rays of light are finding their way down to you, but the brightness of the sun is being sort of filtered out by those palm fronds at the top. So 1 or 2 rays comes down and they create these beautiful interlocking circles around your body. And if you want to, you can kind of trace a circle around you as well, claiming that space as your sacred space to be. Connecting with that solar energy also is connecting to your solar plexus. So just imagine that one of those rays of light is here and the other one is on your throat, because we did a lot with communication today. And as you breathe, then this warm light starts to find its way throughout your entire body. And if you were to look at yourself, you would look like a solar deity, basically, just this beautiful golden sort of human-like body laying on the sand. Imagine that your physical body stays there, but your spiritual body starts to rise up, kind of like a phoenix or a bird, or just imagining that you have this ability to float and follow this really tall palm tree that's behind you. You can hold on at the bottom with your body so you can come back if you want to. And if you're afraid of heights, you could just imagine that your spiritual energy is going to go up through the tree to the top, and you could just be looking up at the sun from the palm leaves at the top. But for those of you that aren't afraid of heights, just imagine that you're tracing that length of the tree until you get to the top, and you could perch up there and look at what's possible. Look at how far you've come. Look at how close you are to the next goal in your life, and feel this sense of liberation, freedom, and clarity. As I play the singing bowl, allow for those 3 things to kind of soak into your mind and body, and then say, I'm open to receive, and then see what the universe wants to bring you. Imagine as you're sitting on the top of this tree, perching there, that you could almost reach up and touch the sun. And there is this sort of, if you ever look in Egyptian art, it's almost like a disc. Imagine you could reach out and touch this disc and bring a representation of that into your body. I see the disc sitting right behind your head, just like a halo, like a nimbus. So see that solar energy right above you, keeping your thoughts elevated, keeping you open to all of this sort of potential energy that wants to come into your life. And then if you'd like to, you can pull that energy through your body. And as you take your time going through each and every chakra, you feel this clearing happening, as if Anything that was a lower frequency or a block gets melted away. Just take your time and take a few deep breaths as you pull that through your body. And once you've done that, I'd like you to gently float back towards your earthly body, imagining that the descent is nice and easy, just like a feather gently floating in the wind, until you find your body, find your crown chakra. You can imagine that you're coming in through the top of your head or through your third eye, and reconnecting and snapping back into your body. And just to kind of create that reintegration, you can rub your hands together, feeling the warmth and the radiance and the heat of the sun that you were just really close to, putting your hand on your heart, the other hand on top of that, and just solidifying your vision, your intention to receive love and abundance in the highest forms this month, and to keep the clear vision of where you're headed and what you want to bring into your life. Let's go ahead and answer your question. Keep it to yourself. This is a silent question. Form the question, form the vision in your head as I shuffle the cards. I'll do my best to try to do it as a yes, no, and if it's not, then I'll just tell you what I see, because sometimes things in our lives are not simply a yes, no. Queen of Swords. Well, I would say this is a yes. She's reversed, so there is always a caveat when cards are reversed like that. I would say the important thing for you is that you have to say what you want to do. So yes, but you are the initiator. Yes, and you should be the one that is driving the ship. There has to be a sense of power, empowerment, ownership, transparency, speaking that are all associated with this. And she has kind of like this strength-like energy here because there's a lot of bulls in this one. So some of you may have Taurus somewhere in your chart, or there's a Taurus around you as well. But she's able to kind of overcome people around her that are trying to hold her back or can kind of be bullish around her. There's no bullies with this person. She's saying, no, like I can stand my ground. The most important thing here is to stand your ground, is to use words in an elevated sense, to be able to just get to the point. So Queen of Swords reverse gets a bad rap, but there's nothing wrong with just being succinct. So keep it simple, keep it succinct, be straightforward, but you're the one initiating, you're the one owning it, and accountability, and the buck stops with you basically as well, okay? So it is a very strong, empowered card, but there is a big sense of responsibility with it. So if you're not ready to take the ownership, the answer would be no. So it really depends on how strong and how confident you feel. So if you're ready, she's ready to support you in that. If you're not, then figure out how and when you want to stake a claim. There's a lot of very similar energies here of people holding their swords or their spears and saying, I'm ready to fight for this. If you're ready to do it, it's a yes, but you have to be ready. Both of them are reversed, so it tells me there's a little bit of hesitation with those kind of like warrior type energies. So I see him as a knight of swords. I see her as a queen of swords or a king maybe, but no, a king wouldn't be doing the war, it's a knight. So yeah, I basically see two sort of swords energies here, and there's a question, are you ready? So one more quick review and then we'll wrap up. So ambiguity, fear of the unknown, don't be afraid. Step into the trust that you're gonna be okay. Something better is waiting on the other side. Whatever you might be going through that's uncertain, I can be certain that it will be better after you move through that. Nine of Swords is usually about making it worse than it is in your head. Focus on your sleeping. I didn't talk about that. If you are having a hard time going to sleep, what are you doing before you go to bed? Have you been talking to anybody that you can kind of use some tools to help with your stress relief? It feels like you might need a therapist or some better meditation techniques to kind of take away that stress. And then the Queen of Swords is the answer here, which is really to get to the point, to take some action, to stand up for yourself. For some of you, when it comes to a no in a career or something, not to take that no for an answer. That's not the final say. There's someone out there that wants to say yes to you and to what you have to offer. So some good messages. When we got to the soul space, that was the only place that I saw sort of friction. So it's in your growth, not so much in what you have available to you, because with the 10 of Pentacles, you've got some great resources, or you have this resourceful energy. You just have to take the leap of faith to get there, right? So thank you so much. I was reading a comment here. Yeah, I wish my petition to YouTube would be to change the word to subscribe to follow. That's all subscribe is. If you've never subscribed, all subscribing does is the same as following someone on Instagram or Facebook. So you're not going to get anything from me. It just means that when you log into YouTube, that it'll be easier to see me on your homepage, but you're not going to get emails. The only way to get emails or notifications is the bell. So you literally have to opt into that kind of stuff. So the bell icon is how you can get an email or a push notification to a mobile device or desktop device. And the subscribe is literally like a follow on a normal social media network. So if you've ever thought, I don't want to subscribe, I don't want to sign up for stuff, you're not going to know. But it will help me. So if you'd like to help me out, then please do. So this is the only thing that's going to send you stuff is the bell. Okay. And even that you can choose none, personalized, or all. So there's options in all of these. Okay. Thank you so much for all of you that have been supporting me. It's been able to help my channel grow a little bit more. So this sign in particular, I need some help. It's the one that grows the slowest so far. So I'd like it. Let's change that. Let's spread it out a little bit more so Aries gets to be the biggest. That's my goal for you guys, because you got some strong energy and it's a pleasure to be able to read for you every month. Thank you to everybody that's done super chat or super stickers. I appreciate that. Again, feel free to join me on social media, especially Instagram. I post a lot of fun pictures there of my dog. And if you'd like to join me on Twitter as well, that's the handle. If you enjoy a good read and are a fan of longer books and sci-fi and fantasy like Lord of the Rings or Dune, I have a book called The Luminous Ones. It's available worldwide if you're interested. And Amazon is actually selling it in the United States pretty cheap right now. I want to say it's like $23. They tend to run sales. So there's a sale on the hardcover right now. So it's a good time to pick it up if you'd like to. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. We're all learning and we're all growing together. I really appreciate everyone that I've been able to connect with here. Thank you to Maria for her help in moderation, and lots of love and light to all of you. I'll be back again tomorrow reading for Taurus. I have a link here that I can give you from my website if you'd like to see the full schedule. Like I said, past, present, future ones, at least from the past year. Everything else, you can just go straight to my main channel page and get information there. I posted some links. Like I said, I'll be doing 2 collectives and 1 bonus reading this month. I haven't decided what the bonus one will be about yet. What I might do is have like a poll where I list 4 possibilities and I'll let the members vote on it. I try to do things for channel members and Patreons occasionally, Patreon patrons, so that you can give back. And I think a poll will be better because I got so many messages last time. It was almost too many. So I might have you start to vote on things, and that will help as well. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks again. See whoever wants to join me tomorrow. And a reminder that I'm always live on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday, unless otherwise, there's some special reading or something special that I do. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great day, and have a great month ahead, okay? Great way to start the month off. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.